This is the After Party, live with Kim McAllister. Pick a couch, grab a drink, and settle into the conversation.
Hey everybody, it is the After Party Live. Thank you for being here on this Friday. Been quite a couple of days. I am grateful for you for waiting. Quite a little Mark Thompson show after a show meeting, as you can imagine. Show note, Mark Thompson show and this show will be dark on Monday on Labor Day. We'll pick it all back up on Tuesday and carry forward, but just wanted to let you know that that will be the case. Wes says free IVF could cost the country a lot more than giving basic medical care to all citizens. Yeah, IVF, super expensive. So there you go. Wow. A lot of good comments already on the show today. All right, we don't have a lot of time because the show started a little behind schedule, and then we have Tim Sika coming in. He's got a lot of really good movies to review today. Among them, he'll talk about this movie called You Gotta Believe, a new horror movie called Afraid, about something about when you have one of those devices in your house, those high-tech devices that listens to everything you do. So we'll talk to Tim about that. And also he's got a review of Blake Edwards, A Love Story in 24 Frames. Blake Edwards married to Julie Andrews. So we'll talk about that movie as well as some others coming up at the bottom of the hour. But I do have time, I think, to squeeze in a couple of stories. So let's do the first one. We'll jump right into animals. I saw this. Oh, sorry about that, Wes. I'll remove your thing. And I know if you have to go, what a pleasure seeing you last night. Everyone who came to the event, just really, really love to spend time with you guys and see your faces and hear your voices. It makes your chats and texts really come alive for me. Okay, let's jump into this. I saw this list of the most bizarre animals living in the Mariana Trench. And I know we may have seen these creatures before, but when they're all grouped together like this, wow. Here's the first one. And this is the black sea devil anglerfish. How creepy is he? He was caught by the Embari Ventana in the Monterey Bay. Look how cool. This is a really interesting picture. Look at those teeth. Yikes. It was so weird. That's the black sea devil anglerfish. The next one calling the Mariana Trench home is called the goblin shark. Ew. Again with the teeth and the weird pointy nose. These animals are like they are from another world. Goblin sharks first described over 100 years ago, but they live so deep in the ocean that we still don't know a lot about them. Very few of them have been found for research reasons. Usually it's an accidental bycatch. They just happen to be up a little high. So that's weird because usually they stay down deep, deep, deep. They have a sensory system along their snouts that can detect weak electrical impulses in the water, like the passing pulses of potential prey. If they pass within reach of their victim, their jaws explosively catapult forward, piercing with needle-like teeth that have evolved for spearing rather than cutting. Yikes. Here's one. This guy is called a deep sea dragonfish, and you could see why they would have called it a dragonfish. They have small photospores that generate light for attracting prey, but then with their big teeth, they'd risk giving the game away if their spiky teeth reflect that light. So they have evolved to have transparent teeth to overcome this. So they're excellent predators and they're masters at hiding as well. This is the Dumbo octopus, one of the cuter ones that lives down in the deep. He's kind of cute. This Dumbo octopus moves around the ocean by flapping their ear-like fins as they try to use their arms to steer. The females will carry eggs in different stages of development, so that if they come across a male, they're good to go. They can also hold on to the sperm until the environmental conditions are most favorable for producing offspring. So they have got a lot going on. This one isn't so scary, but it sure is a little creepy. This is called the barrel fish. And if you see the two green balls in the translucent top of the fish, the two green balls there are actually the eyeballs of the fish. Yes. The barrel eye fish, the actually the glowing green balls further back, those are the eyeballs, and they can smell chemical cues in the water. Isn't that the weirdest thing? They use these eyes to spy prey above them, which they will sometimes steal from the dangling tentacles of other animals. The ultra-sensitive tubular eyes are well adapted for spotting silhouettes of edible animals against the very small amount of light that travels to such depths. Okay, two more, and then I see Tim Sika waiting. So let's do this one. Ew, this is called the frill shark. I shouldn't say ew, it's just so bizarre. It's a primitive shark, the frill shark, that gets its name from the 6 frilly gills that sit along its snake-like body. They are thought to have remained unchanged for millions of years, having evolved the perfect morphology for deep sea living. And finally, here's this fine guy. His name, the hatchet fish. The hatchet fish, it's actually the full name, half-naked hatchet fish. Apparently he forgot his pants. These peculiar mini fish are perpetual optimists. Their eyes always pointed upward. They have large pupils capable of picking out even camouflaged animals drifting through the water column. He's a master at camouflage himself, with pale blue lights on his belly that help diffuse his silhouette by mirroring the light above. So they have adapted to live in the deep sea. And those are just a few of the most bizarre, possibly most terrifying extremes of evolution of creatures living in the Mariana Trench. Okay, I'm so excited. Every Friday, it's an absolute treat. At the movies with Tim Sika, everyone. Hi, Tim.
Hi, Kim. How are ya?
Hi, good. How are you?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah, listening to your you're talking there about those weird fish. I did do an ew on that one that looked like it was gonna like rip your leg off.
Yeah,
The
I know.
the second one,
Ones.
I forgot the name. The one before the last one that you just showed. Ugh.
Oh,
Ew.
the goblin shark?
The other one. Wait, the one. No, that wasn't that one. Oh man,
Imagine
that looks
that
like
thing coming out of the depths for you.
really. That looks like something out of somebody's nightmare. Ugh,
Right?
yuck. Yeah.
Look at those weird teeth.
Yeah.
I could do a lot of damage. What a creepy looking fish.
Yeah.
Look what we share
Definitely.
the planet with. There you go.
Yeah.
Before we jump into movies, I have to say thank you to Maud, who comes in with a $25 super sticker. Happiest days, Kim. I needed that today, Maud. Thank you so much for that nice super sticker and the nice words as well. Crowdfunded show, so we appreciate all of that. And you can find the PayPal link in the show description and in the About tab here on YouTube. So a reminder there. And thank you again. Oh, Tim.
Yeah.
Tim, you've got some good movies.
Yeah, we're gonna get through all these puppies today.
Mhm.
Yeah, a lot of movies. Yeah.
We do have a lot of good things. The first one you sent over is a movie called Slingshot.
Yes, Slingshot. This is it's a sci-fi psychological drama, right? It's
Okay.
about a trio of astronauts played by Oscar winner Casey Affleck, Lawrence Fishburne, and Tomer Capone, who plays Frenchie on Amazon Prime's The Boys. I don't know if you've ever seen The Boys. Have you ever seen The Boys?
No.
That's a different conversation, but yeah, well, check out The Boys sometimes if you're in for a really wild kind of series. Anyway, all these guys are on a mission to Titan, which is one of Saturn's 82 moons, and en route they face this series of, I don't know, unexpected challenges, let's just say, that tests their endurance and their sanity. The term slingshot refers to this mysterious gravitational anomaly that has the potential to sort of catapult spacecraft across vast distances at these incredible speeds, hence the film's title. And that plays a large part in what happens here in this story. So, and I don't want to give anything away, only what I have to. And this is an interesting movie with an interesting premise. It's also this love story, which is really kind of cleverly integrated into the plot. Everything about this movie is really good. How it captures the sense of isolation, being, stuck in a contained space, millions of miles or billions of miles in outer space away from Earth. Watching it, we really feel, and we get this sense of the dread and the loneliness and ultimately the horror of the situation that these three astronauts have put themselves in. The direction is good. The craft of the movie is top notch. The problem with this movie, and which killed it for me, was the ending, which made absolutely no sense of what came before. In other words, I suspect they struggled to come up with a satisfying conclusion. The ending raised more questions than it provided answers, and not in an artful, artistic way, like say in the same way that 2001 used ambiguity to evoke a kind of wonder and a mystery. You just go, ooh, that's interesting, kind of thing. This, you just throw up your hands. When this movie ended, I inwardly, because I saw it in a crowd, screamed and said, yeah, right. Okay, so now what? You mean to tell me that what we experienced never happened, in which case it seemed pointless to have been put through this exercise, or if it did actually literally happen, who's going to take responsibility for the actions enacted on board? And what did this movie mean? It would have been better if they just ended it without showing us what we're being shown and told apparently happened, and what the motive for this outer space exploration was. I know that sounds convoluted and cryptic, but if I was any more detailed, I'd be giving spoilers. So the ending killed it for me, like no other movie ending in recent movie killed it for me, and ruined what was otherwise a very good movie.
Don't these scripts, don't you have the ending before you decide to make the movie?
Well, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. It's really interesting because I couldn't find any information about this movie online after I had seen it. I did find one article that implied to me that, because Tom Holland was originally attached to this movie, but the summary that they gave at this time, I think it was like 2 years ago, was almost of a different movie entirely. So obviously the script went through a lot of changes between the time they agreed to do it and the time they actually filmed it. 2 writers are credited too, which makes me think that one writer wrote this original story and then this other writer came in to polish it. But really, this movie makes no sense at the end. The ending kills it. It kills it. That's my takeaway anyway. So
what a bummer. I wonder what the original ending was with the
I don't know.
Don't you? You're like,
I don't.
What's the real story?
Well, and it's funny because as you're watching it, you're wondering, well, where's this going to go? Yeah. But the way it finally went, no, next.
What a bummer.
Yeah.
Just spend all that movie and expend all that energy to only just tank it at the last moment.
Yeah, because everything else about it is really good, especially the cast. It's an excellent cast. Everybody's good. Like So, and the trailer for this movie is very good. It makes you want to go see the movie, but hey, just be forewarned. And if anybody listening happens to see it between now and next week, oh boy, I would appreciate an explanation if they could come up with one. I couldn't.
Let's go to this one. It's City of Dreams.
Yes, inspired by a true story. If you really think about it, Kim, that is such a meaningless tag, because everything ever written, I suppose in some way and on some level, is inspired by a true story. But anyway, City of Dreams is this drama chronicling the journey of this mute Mexican boy who has these dreams of becoming a soccer star. But all that is upended, shall we say,
Did you say he's mute?
He's mute. Yeah, he doesn't speak. Yeah,
okay.
That's something that they never really explain. You just assume he just doesn't talk, or maybe he does. He just doesn't understand the language. No, No, he does. No, he never talks. That's right. He never talks.
Wow.
So he's
Okay.
mute, right?
Uh-huh.
And anyway, he has these dreams of becoming a soccer star. So he's sort of duped into coming into this country. Basically, he's smuggled across the border and sold to a hell on earth sweatshop in downtown LA. Now, my gut going into this movie was telling me, you really don't want to see this. You really don't need to see this. And not because of its subject matter, which is subject matter everybody I think should be aware of, how this exploitation and abuse of children for corporate profit and the exposing of the horrors of child trafficking. But the fact that former Republican presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy's name was attached to it, I'm just saying, I don't know exactly yet what I'm going to say about that, but I'm also just saying that I hated this movie. And for the simple reason that instead of providing this kind of thought-provoking and unvarnished and realistic look into what is really a form of modern slavery of immigrants in America that goes on daily, really, and is going on right now, even as we speak. But instead, we get this exploitive, cheap-jack, unexamined, lurid horror show, which is packaged as entertainment. And I found that appalling. It's as though the filmmakers took a compelling subject and cheapened it by presenting it as a kind of torture porn. It was just awful. It leaves you feeling like you need a shower and angry that you even supported the film by watching it in the first place. I never like to tell people what they should or should not see, but my advice to anybody even thinking about seeing this movie, don't even buy a ticket. If you decide to see it, which is your prerogative, don't say I didn't warn you. And Kim, the other thing I am going to say this that I couldn't get out of my head while watching this is that Vivek Ramaswamy, who I don't know as a person, so no judgment here, but I will say that his behavior, distinct from his humanity, I find reprehensible as a human being and as a presidential candidate. It goes beyond the pale. He's on record saying that corporations should be able to do whatever the hell they want to do in order to maximize their profits. Well, then, what's his name doing attached to this movie? Is he sanctioning this practice? What the hell is going on? I think he's saying, buy a ticket so that I can get some kind of kickback, although that's just, I can't document that. I don't know. There's something very sleazy about this movie. I found it appalling, awful garbage. And next time I'm just going to make sure I'm going to go with my gut. Something about this movie, even when I read about it, I thought, and then later I found out he was attached to it. So there's just something unspoken and weird about what's going on back of this movie. And it plays, like I said, it plays like torture porn. Oh, it was awful.
If you have to have this stuff now living in your brain, because once you see it, you can't unsee it, right?
Right.
So if you have to have that living inside, at least let it be for a reason that's worthwhile.
Yeah,
right?
I agree. It really just leaves you bereft, and you're going, yuck, yuck, yuck.
It's a no-go. All right.
Yeah,
Let's talk about 1992.
Yeah, this is a mixed bag. This next one, 1992. It's for all intents and purposes a heist drama. It's a genre exercise, and it's set against the backdrop of the first night of the 1992 Los Angeles riots, April 29th, 1992 LA riots, which were a result of the Rodney King verdict,
right,
where the 4 white police officers who practically beat this guy to death were acquitted. And the plot involves, well, first of all, the film stars Tyrese Gibson, very good here, Scott Eastwood and Ray Liotta in one of his last roles. In fact, the film is dedicated to him. And there's 2 plot threads going on here. The Tyrese Gibson character, he's 6 months out of prison, living with his teenage son in a very modest apartment in LA. And there are all these father-son issues at play. Out of prison dad is trying to deal with his angry son, thinking, my God, this is me when I was his age, and he's going to wind up in prison. Yet his anger is justified for a number of reasons anyway. And that whole thing serves as this like contrast counterpoint with another father-son element. Scott Eastwood, son, and Ray Liotta, father, are dealing with their own issues while trying to plan and execute this platinum heist where they think they're going to become multimillionaires. So, yeah, a mixed bag. The film's heart is in the right place in that it's a serious attempt to presence this drama and unfolding of all this personal family stuff concurrently happening between a black father and his son with a white father and his son. There's a contemporary resonance and relevance here in that the African Americans in this film are treated with suspect and sketch that the white Americans are not. You watch this movie and you go, God, not much has changed seemingly regarding the LAPD and the black community. The movie's entertaining and intense, but again, yeah, I'm complaining a lot about the ends of things. The last act is so obvious and way too eager to connect all the dots, which it didn't need to do, that it resorts to all this hackneyed dialogue, very on the nose acting, which consists of all these histrionics and reliance on some extreme genre tropes, that it's almost laughable when it's supposed to be coming together, and then you're going, God, this seems ridiculous. And it just pulls you out of what is otherwise a pretty decent heist picture. So it's a mixed bag. It's worth seeing if you can overlook the obviousness and the clunk of the third act. Okay. Yeah. So
that's too bad, because it sounds like an interesting premise. So
it is. It is. Well, and there's a lot of good in the movie, but it's like I said, it's a mixed bag. Yeah.
The next one is a movie called You Gotta Believe.
Yeah. On a much lighter note, this is another actual family movie. I want to go in the spirit of my penguin friend, only it's a story not about animals, but about Little League Baseball. And it's based on a true story, one which apparently got some traction on the ESPN sports cable channel back in, I think it was 2002. And that story is of the West Side All-Stars, the first Fort Worth, Texas youth baseball team to make it to the 2002 Little League World Series in something like 40 years.
Okay.
And in this movie iteration of that true story, I'm sure they've taken liberties, but the team is initially depicted as a very average youth sports team, lacking ambitions of greater glory or notoriety. But when a player's father, played by Luke Wilson, who's in the poster there, is stricken by this advanced form of melanoma cancer.
Oh no.
Yeah, I know. You can see what's coming. The team sort of mines that tragedy for the motivation they need to take their gameplay up a notch, so to speak, and at the same time themselves more seriously than they were taking themselves in the past. So what else? Greg Kinnear co-stars. He's in the poster too, as the team's coach, and he's best pal to dying Luke Wilson, and who's also a lawyer who's bored, and he's sort of tired of his real job, and he's looking for meaning in his life, and he finds it in helping this team to win and lend his dying pal some dignity before he shuffles off his mortal coil. And there's lots I can criticize this movie for. It tries to take on a lot of stuff, for one. Like it doesn't matter if you win or lose, but how you play the game. Don't take life too seriously because you're never going to get out of it alive. All that stuff, the importance of family and communal support and responsibility. It attempts to take on grief and loss. The best thing about it is how it portrays the middle-aged friendship between the Greg Kinnear character and the Luke Wilson character. That was, to me, the most touching. I mean, the most genuinely touching, without me feeling like I was being manipulated. There's the big inspirational Hoosiers-like musical score. It's kind of like a benign, less profane Bad News Bears, this movie, but with more to say about the life experience. I think the worst things that players say to each other, they say things like "eat my chimichanga" and "you're a pinhead," or "if Mr. Rogers lived in your neighborhood, I bet he'd move." Stuff like that. Yeah. It's emotional. The filmmakers are aware that all of the screens goings on have significant sugar coma potential, but there are touches here and there that make you think that they're trying to fight against that. Bottom line, it's an innocuous and family-friendly movie. It's ideal for young boys and a made-to-order movie for little leaguers everywhere. So, good movie. I recommend it. Yeah.
All right. This one, I'm fascinated by the concept. It's
Oh
called
yeah.
Afraid.
Afraid, yeah. You know, the trailer for this movie is playing everywhere. I generally don't watch trailers, but I haven't been able to avoid this one. It just keeps popping up everywhere. So they're really, putting the screws to the marketing on this one. But
Hmm.
this is an AI warning thriller slash semi horror movie. And we thought Suri was bad. Oh boy, look out for Aya in this movie, which in the movie is this smart home AI device that's being tested in this family home of this guy named Curtis, aka Dad. He's played by John Cho, and his wife and 3 kids. And no spoiler here because this is all in the trailer. Aya starts to develop her own self awareness. So just fill in the blanks. So, yeah,
Well, she's
yes.
stationary, right? Or is she
Yeah, but it
connected
does,
to everything in the household?
she's connected to everything in the
Okay.
house.
All right.
And yeah. So anyway, this is a pretty simple, straightforward, relatively short at 80 plus minutes, direct Spartan style, economically produced thriller about the dangers of AI. And they make no qualms about like, hey, we're making this to warn you in case you've been asleep for the last 10 years. It's sort of akin to what used to be made and called a direct-to-video movie, only it's of a slightly higher quality. John Cho is in it. He lends it some gravitas. He's always great. I love this guy. He's just a really interesting actor to watch. And a movie whose message is pretty no frills. Well, this was my takeaway anyway, whose message is, as if we already don't know, or those of us unfamiliar with the Center for Humane Technology don't already know, that technological change is proceeding at this exponential rate, and that AI is now here. We've opened up this Pandora's box, and there's
Yeah.
no going back. And that if we don't use AI wisely, embrace it, and respect it, it's gonna do a number on us. So that's pretty much all I really can say about the movie. That's Afraid. It's aptly titled, and it's a fairly okay movie. It's very obvious. It's
Mhm.
very on the nose. You kind of know within the first 5 minutes where this movie's going to go, but it's well made. Like I said, it's economically produced. Yet at no expense to the look of the movie. It still looks kind of polished, but it's very clear they probably didn't spend. It's a Blumhouse movie, and Blumhouse knows how to produce movies at a very low cost that make a lot of money.
Oh.
So yeah, and it's a contemporary, thriller, and it's interesting because some of the things that happen in the movie I've experienced indirectly with AI in my own life. Only
What?
only I would laugh it off. This
Yeah.
movie takes that stuff seriously, and it does so in a really kind of
That
clever way.
just gave
So
me the shiver
yeah,
chills.
there you
Ew.
go. There you go. That's
Wow.
yeah.
So
So
are you recommending this
I
one?
am recommending
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh,
Afraid.
yeah. Oh gosh.
Did you see B.A. Ware's comment? He says this movie might drive me to an off-grid hermitage.
Yeah. Yeah, really. Yes. Uh-huh. Yeah. I
Yeah.
thought of that too. I thought, man,
Hmm.
I either got to use the social media or the whole internet less, or do something extreme like that. Get off the grid completely. Oh, whew.
Cool.
Yeah, cool.
So let's go to this movie. This is Blake Edwards, A Love Story in 24 Frames.
Yeah, this is a PBS documentary, which is streaming now on all different kinds of platforms for free, actually. It's about the film career of the late screenwriter, film director Blake Edwards, who's probably most famous for the Pink Panther movies
Hmm.
and films like The Great Race and The Party and Days of Wine and Roses and Breakfast at Tiffany's. He had a wide palette. He made dramas, he made comedies. He's famous for the comedies, and he's even made a couple of musicals. But it's also notable for the work he's collaborated on with his wife, superstar Julie Andrews, with whom he's made some 7 movies, the most
Oh.
popular and probably the best being the musical Victor Victoria, which was later controversially staged on Broadway and which ruined the singing voice of his wife, Julie Andrews. But
Mm.
that's another subject. But and Andrews more or less hosts this movie, and really what it is, what this film is, bottom line, it's a very loving tribute and a gift to her late husband, Blake Edwards, by Julie Andrews. Blake's two children, actress and filmmaker Jennifer and Jeffrey, respectively, and others, filmmakers Ryan Johnson, Paul Feig, who directed what was that Melissa McCarthy movie? That crazy Melissa McCarthy movie.
They're all a little crazy.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, the first one, the one that was really gross and disgusting but hilarious, and choreographer Rob Marshall. Bridesmaids, that's it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And also choreographer Rob Marshall is in this, who worked with her on Victor Victoria, and it's a celebration of Blake Edwards' life and his life's work, and his marriage of 43 years to Julie Andrews. People thought, what an odd pairing, but they stayed together for 40 plus decades.
Wow.
And it also goes into the work that they've done together on screen in perhaps lesser known movies. Andrews, of course, will be eternally etched in the minds of moviegoers for her iconic screen performances as Mary Poppins and Maria von Trapp in The Sound of Music. Mm-hmm. I have some personal quibbles about this movie, which only really matter to me, which I won't go into now. But I do think that folks who are perhaps maybe less familiar with the work of Blake Edwards and Julie Andrews, not only his solo work as a filmmaker, but their work together, will find this movie informative and insightful. Right. And let's just say that, I will say this, the very best part of this movie is the final words that come out of the mouth of Julie Andrews about her husband, which will leave no dry eye to those who see this movie. It's a very loving and affectionate tribute by those people who love the man, which perhaps will also set the record straight regarding his inestimable contribution to the film industry. So it's a love letter to Blake Edwards. And I'm going to say this because this isn't really giving anything away. It's something for people to look forward to. At the end, Julie Andrews recites this poem that she wrote for him at a stage in their relationship, and it is oh God, I'm tearing up now just talking about it. Anyway, I recommend the film. I recommend it. Yeah, it's streaming on a number of platforms, so I recommend people just Google the movie and they'll tell you. I think you could just go on the PBS website now and watch it.
I don't know a lot about him, so I would watch this because I'm not aware of, her relationship with him or what he's done. So let's recap.
Okay.
Slingshot, the first one, you said it's an interesting movie. It was good, but the nonsensical ending really killed it for you. It's just, you walked away shaking your head thinking, what a waste of my time.
Yeah, right. Yeah. No, forget it.
The next one is City of Dreams, and you hated this movie. Hated it.
Hated it. Yeah.
Instead of a real look at trafficking, which they had the chance to do here, it's packaged as entertainment, which really kind of ooged you out. You do not recommend this movie, and you called it appalling.
Yeah.
1992. You said it. You gotta give this one a mixed reaction. You said it's entertaining, but the last act is really trying too hard.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
You gotta believe. You said it's a family movie. It's emotional. There's a lot going on with this movie, but you recommend it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Afraid, all about the AI in your house. You said it's an okay movie. It's pretty obvious, which I think is why you weren't like gung ho on it. But you said you do recommend it. Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
No, I was going to say, imagine if you asked Suri to do something, like play some Whitney Houston for me, Suri.
Sure.
And she said, I don't think I want to do that.
Okay. What do you want to do now that you have a mind of your own?
Yeah.
Blake Edwards, a love story in 24 frames. You called it informative, a loving tribute, a love letter. You recommend this one as well.
I sure do. So
Look
I think
at
that's
you.
more I'm recommending than not, I think, this week.
Okay.
I don't know. I haven't been keeping count. So
yeah, the first two were no-goes, and then the 2, 3, 4, 5, you said yes. You brought us a lot of stuff to consider today.
Yeah, too much.
Hmm.
Yeah,
No,
too
not
much.
too much. I'll take it all. This is good.
Okay, all right.
I love it when you swing by the show, Tim Sika. I hope you have a really good holiday weekend.
Oh,
And
yeah.
yeah,
Yes,
Labor
I
Day
forgot.
on Monday.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot it's a holiday weekend. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
So have a nice long one full of lots of movies.
You too. And
Thank you.
yeah, we'll talk to you next week, Kim.
Sounds good.
All
At the
right.
movies with Tim
All right.
Sika. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. I love Tim Sika when he comes by the show. So grateful for all the great movie reviews. Have to thank B.A. Ware for the $5 super sticker. Thanks for doing the show for us today, Kim. You're greatly appreciated and enjoy the long weekend. That is so nice. I appreciate the $5 super sticker and the really kind comments and that you're always here. I really like that as well. B.A. Ware also asks us not to forget to click the like button. The show has only been going on for 35 minutes because of our late start, so I do have some more stories to get to, and I don't want to skimp out on them. So let's talk about the stone seal. This is really an interesting story. You know, I love a good archaeological find, and this seal was found in Israel. It is 2,700 years old. 2,700 years old. It was found near the Temple Mount by Israeli archaeologists. It is from the First Temple period. It bears a name inscribed in Paleo-Hebrew script and a winged demon or kind of genie figure. It was discovered in the Davidson Archaeological Garden near the south wall of the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. This according to the Israel Antiquities Authority. It's made of black stone. They say, is one of the most beautiful ever discovered in excavations in ancient Jerusalem. It's executed at the highest artistic level. The name inscribed on the stone, and I'm sorry if I botched this for anyone who speaks Hebrew, is Hosh Ayahu. Hosh Ayahu. He was thought to be a senior administrator in the Kingdom of Judah, who likely wore this stone as an amulet around his neck and then used it to sign official documents or proclamations. How interesting is that? The figure of the winged man that you see there demonstrates the ascendancy of the Assyrian Empire over the Middle East in the 9th to the 7th centuries BCE, while conferring on to its bearer the authority of the office. The antiquities officials say it seems this object was made by a local craftsman, a Judahite, who produced the amulet at the owner's request, and they say it was prepared at a very highly artistic level, that this is a very rare, unusual discovery, and it is the first time, we've never seen anything like this, that a winged genie, a protective magical figure, has been found in Israeli and regional archaeology. Interesting. They say it's impossible not to be moved by such an unmediated and direct encounter with a chapter of our past, a time at which the first temple stood in all its glory. You can see how tiny it is. Here's the archaeologist that found it. It's very small, but it's also very, very cool. Something else we've never seen before. This is a tarantula. Okay. You know the show where cordyceps overtake overtake humanity, right? This is the show Nikki made me watch. And it's starring Pedro Pascal, and the cordyceps, the mushroom fungus, turn people into the craziest, weirdest people, and then all of a sudden they're kind of like zombie mushroom people. The show is called The Last of Us. This is like one of these things, if you watch the show, you see this and you think, uh-oh, here it comes. We've seen cordyceps overtake small insects. We've seen it even overtake a frog. That was recent. We saw a frog. Now, a pretty big tarantula infected by this zombie fungus. This creature appears to have died after being infected by this fungus called cordyceps, as we said, also known as the zombie fungus. It was found by a field researcher working in the Peruvian Amazon who captured this video footage of a tarantula that was infected by this. And there it is. I'm telling you, it's the creepiest thing. Yep. No, thank you. Here's a sad story. That's a bad picture of plastic microbes, little shards. Here's a better picture of it. It turns out that not only do we have microplastics in our testicles, if we have them, in our organs, our reproductive organs, floating around our body, it would make sense then that we also have it in our brains. Human brain samples collected at autopsy in early 2024 contained more tiny shards of plastic than samples collected 8 years prior. That according to a preprint, which is a study that hasn't been peer-reviewed yet or published in a journal. So this is preliminary. The concentrations that researchers saw in the brain tissue of normal individuals, people, who had an average age of about 45 to 50 years old, were 4,800 micrograms per gram, or 0.5% by weight, according to the study author from the University of New Mexico, Albuquerque. Compared to autopsy brain samples from 2016, that's about 50% higher. And that would mean our brains today are 99.5% brain and the rest is plastic. If that doesn't give you pause, I know that 0.5% is not a lot, but that 0.5% should not be in our brain. We are absolutely killing ourselves with microplastics. We're killing ourselves and the planet. And we still are grabbing for plastic and drinking out of plastic bottles and throwing plastic away. It's crazy. They say that it shows only the exposure, that it doesn't provide information about brain damage. It's unclear, according to the researchers who come from the Division of Pharmacology and Toxicology. It's unclear in life. These particles are fluid, entering and leaving the brain, or if they collect in neurological tissues and promote disease. So is it a fluid situation, or once they're there, do they stick? So they say further research is needed to understand how these particles could be interacting with the cells in the brain, and if it has a toxicological consequence. The brain samples contained 70 to 30 times more tiny shards of plastic than samples from the cadaver's kidneys and liver. Why is it ending up in our brains more prevalently? Studies have found that these types of plastics in the human heart, the great blood vessels, the lungs, the liver, the testes, our gastrointestinal tract, our placentas, if you have those. So they say it's important not to scare the hell out of people. I don't know how that's possible, but they say the science in this space is still evolving. Nobody in the year 2024 is going to live without plastic. So what the researchers say, Dr. Philip Landrigan, who's director of the Program for Global Public Health and the Common Good and the Global Observatory on Planetary Health at Boston College, he says, I say to people this, listen, there are some plastics you can't escape. You're not going to get a cell phone or a computer that doesn't contain plastic, but do try to minimize your exposure to the plastic that you can avoid, like plastic bags and bottles. There are some things that we can do, right? You can't completely eliminate, but you can limit. The American Chemistry Council, which is an industry association, told CNN that while some studies on microplastic have recently gotten a lot of headlines, just last month, the FDA said current scientific evidence doesn't demonstrate that levels of microplastics or nanoplastics detected in food pose a risk to human health. Doesn't that seem a little short-sighted? There it is anyway. I am not ending on such a horrible note. So let's talk about the pajama party. Woohoo! It was an IKEA pajama party, and they have set a Guinness World Record. 2,052 IKEA employees broke the world's record for having the largest pajama party. They did it at the first store, the first IKEA store in Sweden, and it broke the Guinness World Record for the largest gathering of people wearing two-piece pajamas at a single venue at the store in Älmhult, Sweden. They say the record attempt was part of IKEA's initiative to create bedroom decor designed to improve sleep. And they are thrilled about their collective effort. They say they are coming together to highlight the importance of sleep. Good sleep benefits everyone, and they say we believe by prioritizing it, we can genuinely make a big difference. Small adjustments like choosing the right pillow or lighting, they say, can lead to big improvements. And the goal is to make these improvements accessible to everyone because good sleep should be something that everyone can achieve. Well done, IKEA. Look at their cute jammies. Winners, winners all around. A huge thank you to Maud, who comes in with a $25 super sticker. I don't know why the super chat from BA Ware didn't stick up there, but here it is. $5 from BA Ware and some kind words from both Maud and BA Ware today. I really appreciate it. Again, the PayPal information is in the show description and the About tab under the After Party Live. I can't thank you enough for spending part of your Friday with me here on the After Party. I hope you have a really good weekend. Make it a good one. And I'll see you back here on YouTube on Tuesday for the Mark Thompson Show, 11 a.m. Tuesday, Pacific Time. David K. Johnston will be on the show. Jefferson Graham will be on the show. And then we'll do Travel Tuesday as well. So it's going to be a really good one. Oh, look at you in Under the Wire. $10 from Luis. Thank you, Kim, for all you do. Missed you last night. I was there last night. But know that all you must have had a great time at the meet. Oh, you weren't there. Okay. I thought you were coming for some reason. Yeah, I missed you too. It was a really, really fun meetup. I really love getting to see people and hear people and kind of feel like I know them so much better after that happens. So just another way to strengthen this little community we're building. Luis, thank you for the $10 super sticker and for always being so supportive and kind as well. Really appreciate it. Maud says, have the most bestest weekend all, and I echo the sentiment. I hope you guys have a great weekend, a great long weekend. And again, I'll see you back here on the YouTube. So make sure you go out there and make it a really good one. Bye, everyone.
The After Party Live would like to thank the following contributors and viewers like you.
No show on Monday. No show. We'll be back live on Tuesday. Mark and the after party.